In December 2018, my father and I embarked on a 6-day trip to North Korea. It's been almost 6 years and I often think about those 6 days. South Korea is where I live, almost 7 years now. And that trip to North Korea felt like a time capsule to the Korean 70s, or even older. One of my friends, Yuna, escaped from the north and lives in South Korea like me.
I see some people there.
Oh, you see some people?
Yeah. Oh, they're doing planting something. 모내기.
모내기?
벼 이렇게 심고 있어요.
It's kind of sad to see the birds flying, from north to south.
I know. Sometimes I want to become a bird.
Yeah.
So I can fly there and come here.
I invited her to Odesan Observatory to look back at my trip and talk about some odd things that have happened. Something I always wanted to do.
It feels sad and weird at the same time. People live there. Every day they actually see us.
Yeah.
And they feel like they are living in a kind of like a jail. Can you imagine how much they want to come here, but they cannot do it, even it's really close.
It's so close.
So I feel like if people live there, they feel really bad every time.
We found a nice little spot.
This is my first time I came here. I didn't know this place would exist.
Nice, right? It's calm, quiet. So Yuna, I'm gonna show you a few clips from my trip to North Korea. Things that, now looking back, I think they were kind of odd. A slow train took us from China to Pyongyang, allowing us to observe North Korea's countryside. Town after town, North Koreans commuting to work, propaganda everywhere, and I mean everywhere. At train stations, in the town centers, and in the middle of nowhere. Big red signs with Hangul written in thick white letters. What do North Koreans think of all the propaganda? Are they still reading it? Are they still caring about it?
Just think this way. When you're born, and then the first thing you see, all of like that, then you feel like it's normal. So we don't think it's weird or not.
So you're not walking around and think, another propaganda.
No. Never thought about that way. They just think that we should make our spring leader look great. Then there are the farmers with oxen everywhere. Something you won't see in the south anymore. Even you're born in cow, you need to born in here. When I was in North Korea, the cows were working a lot. When I came here, cows, they don't know how to work.
Giving milk.
Eating and just, I don't know.
We crossed the Yalu River into North Korea for a short stop at North Korea's immigration before moving to Pyongyang. We weren't allowed to bring religious material or any political content, preferably no books at all. That's why it was all too strange to see books like Harry Potter or Anne Frank in the Grand People's Study House in Pyongyang. Do North Koreans have access to foreign books?
Only government allows. 18th century or 17th centuries like that, the capitalism was not good. So they always let us to read a book. It's about criticize capitalism.
But what about Anne Frank?
Only selected people, not all of the North Korean people. Someone who selected, and then they think that these people even read a book, they will never change their 주체 ideology or their thoughts. Harry Potter and Robinson Crusoe is really popular in North Korea.
All right.
But Anne Frank 일기, that's not really.
On our first night in Pyongyang, they invited us to the movie theater next to the Yanggakdo Hotel. Through the darkness, we walked to the cinema, which opened only for us.
누구 동지, like calling someone.
Yes. Inside, the popcorn was pre-prepared, and it wasn't very warm, so everyone kept a winter jacket on. Then we watched the North Korean romantic comedy Comrade Kim Goes Flying. Do North Koreans go to movie theaters?
That theater is quite kind of like a privileged area. Not a lot of people and not normal people can allow them to enter.
So what about the countryside? Do those people ever see movies?
There's a theater, but it's the situation is really bad. Just concrete wall, no popcorn, no Coca-Cola, no drinks. That theater looks really cool for me.
Any foreign movies?
Sometimes Soviet Union movie and then Chinese movies, but it's old-fashioned
But
movies.
not Disney movies, for example?
No, it's like make a worship to the communist.
Next, we found ourselves in Sariwon, a more rural city. I don't know how it happened, but suddenly we walked on the ice without our guides, who were usually always with us. I noticed we were being followed by several men instead, until one of the guides found us again. Here, he was following me He was following me.
So they're all Hwanans.
If you walk much further without the guys,
Yeah.
the local people would be a little bit more sensitive.
Uh-huh.
It's really okay in the city, I mean in Pyongyang, but
Yeah.
in the local rural areas,
We noticed it.
yeah, they are not used to the foreigners.
Yeah.
It seems really weird. Weird.
Weird is not enough to describe. They think that foreigners. They think that you're 미국놈.
enemy.
Someone who has like a big nose and something like that. They always think that white people are the all sworn enemy, 미국놈. And then also they're afraid because they never had a chance to watch foreigners. So they feel weird. Oh, what kind of human being looks like that, you know?
But can North Koreans travel freely between cities, provinces?
No.
No?
Pyongyang citizens are their identification is like a citizenship card. But someone who live countryside, we got the 공민증. So someone who has Pyongyang citizenship, you can go freely, only except border side. But someone who born in Jagang province like me, it's not easy to get out of the Jagang province without any government purpose.
Even North Koreans inside North Korea are restricted a lot.
Restrict a lot of things, especially like freely traveling around the North Korea.
The next stop is the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun, the mausoleum for Kim Il-sung and his son Kim Jong-il. The bodies are embalmed and on display. It was a strangely eerie place where many North Koreans walked out shedding a tear. So the question I had was,
Is it real or not?
More than 80% are real. So if they are not crying, the guards maybe recognized their worship is not enough for the Kim's family. But usually people are real. If they're not real, most of them are not real, the regime collapsed already.
Have you been inside the palace?
My father did, but
Your father
I never.
did? Did your father talk about it?
He was really like sad, you know,
Really?
our supreme leader Kim Il-sung, because he had a chance to shook hands with Kim Il-sung because my father was a military general. Someone who saw their body, it's like a kind of like a legendary story. You know what?
Right.
I saw our supreme leaders.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
people are, oh, I'm so envious.
But imagine it's like seeing a Jesus or an Allah.
Yeah,
or, you know,
something
if
like
you
that.
really believe in that.
Yes, something like that. Exactly same.
one of my favorite moments was this interaction with Pyongyang children. They were pure and innocent, and only after I returned home did I notice a Mickey Mouse and Chanel scarf. Well, actually, because the people in the comment section.
같이 하나 둘 셋 생일 축하합니다.
Chanel. Wow. But you know, they're all like imitation fleed from China. When I was in university student, I was wearing Louis Vuitton scarf.
No way.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was a Louis Vuitton. Kind of like a brand product.
All made in China.
All made in China.
We were on a New Year's Eve trip to celebrate New Year in North Korea, so a lot of music was expected. But what I didn't expect was hearing songs from ABBA or Frank Sinatra.
When Kim Jong-un took the regime, he tried to let North Korean people to listen about foreigner songs, including famous American songs. He tried to, I think, make North Korea differently.
Wow.
But nowadays it's like close the borders and then restrict everything. It's way more worse than that.
So do the North Koreans know that these singers are from Sweden or America?
They have no idea.
Really?
They think it's a 세계 명곡. North Korean, like even countryside people, they rather to listen South Korean music. Nowadays, like younger generations, I believe they listen to a lot of idol music.
Ooh, is it allowed?
No, it's illegal. If they have a chance to have a CD and listen to the foreigner music, they prefer to listen South Korean.
Okay, so it's from the black market and they do it illegally.
Yes.
But
And they love Korean songs.
Do you think they listen to BTS and New Jeans?
I'm sure.
At some point, they took us to Onryugwan, a famous restaurant for Pyongyang called Noodles. It was so famous that every South Korean asked me if I had tried the noodles. But how famous are they in North Korea?
Every South Korean I talked to asked me after this trip, did
How
you
was it,
try the
Pyongyang?
gold? Yes, exactly. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know the noodles were so famous.
I don't know why.
Have you been to this restaurant?
Yes,
Yes?
twice.
Twice?
With my father.
How was it?
For me, that time I was North Korean, right? I
Yeah.
never taste South Korean food, right? That time it was really great. But I don't know at this time if I go there and then try again, the taste will be the same or not, because I already got adjusted with the South Korean food.
So this restaurant is famous in North Korea too?
Really famous. And North Korean people, someone who born in North Korea, their dream of going to this restaurant before they die.
Go at least once in your life.
At least once in your life.
And you've done it.
I've done it, but not many people have done it.
Finally, the trip's highlight was the moment we were among 100,000 North Koreans at Kim Il-sung Square celebrating the New Year. Performances by famous groups like Morambong, fireworks and a drone show. It simply felt unreal. I, for one, didn't expect the people in Pyongyang to celebrate the New Year like this.
How did you celebrate New Year's Eve?
Countryside, we don't celebrate like this. At the house, with the people gathering together and drinking and eating good food. And then we watch this one on the screen.
Oh, so you get to see, see the
television.
performance.
Country people, their dream actually attend this performance in person, like a real. But they always celebrate with the television. Even the fireworks, we call it chukpo, but countryside people, they never, not many people, only few people had a chance to watch fireworks at front of their eyes,
Yes.
you know, like there. But normally, countryside people, they just see it chukpo with the screens, and sometimes I don't. I'm curious about nowadays of North Korea, but pretty much the same.
Yeah,
You know,
but
North
already
Korea-
5 years ago, eh?
Yeah, I know, but North Korea is like 30 years ago, and 30 years after, the time stands still.
Yuna has lived a big part of her life in North Korea. Because of the news about weapons of mass destruction, provocations from the North, strange rules, military parades, Kim Jong-un or any of his predecessors, we sometimes forget that North Koreans are human like you and me. The North Koreans are trapped in their country in a system that has deprived them of their freedom and human rights. One day, I hope the North Koreans can be free. I remember standing at the border in Panmunjom on the North Korean side, thinking I could walk to South Korea in less than 5 seconds and to my home in less than a few hours. Maybe one day it will be possible. All I know now is that you enter the North with a few questions and bring out 100 more. And it's only because of people like Yuna that we can get more answers. Thank you for watching.